This is bigger than money. This is legacy. This is heritage. There's history here. Don't get much bigger than this. You know, I'd say it's one of the biggest fights of the decade. I slept like a baby. First day we faced off, I had like a warmth in my heart, knowing that in just under 8 weeks, I am going to render you unconscious. I slept so good that night. But you gotta remember, I'm undefeated. He's been beat, flattened, knocked out. Yeah, listen, I'm 28. He's done what he's had to do in his career. He's finished. You know, I've got to do this for my dad. You know, because he couldn't do it himself. It's only right that I do justice for the second fight. That was a draw that he should have won.
Just stop him.
Would I stop who?
Eubank.
It's brutal. Come get your last paycheck. Come get your last paycheck.
It's mad now how that fight has the hatred. Whereas before, listen, as a promoter, it's like, you know, the hatred of the families and stuff like that. Now, from everything he said, and will continue to say, is it a little bit different now?
Oh, it's very different. What, you think you can lie about the truth? Lie and try and blackmail me for £1 million? All of that. What, you think this ain't personal now? And you can rub salt in my wounds. You think this ain't personal now? Wait till I come for his head. For me, this is no pressure. I'm gonna get out there, do what I do, and if there is any pressure, pressure makes diamonds. And all the pressure I've had to have my whole career is put me in good stead for now. And you know, I've always risen to the occasion. It's just what I do now. There's no pressure because I've done it so many times now. And you know, over the years I've just got better at my craft, and you know, I've got stronger as I've got older, more confident, mainly experience as well. So I just feel like I'm gonna go in there and, you know, hand this guy a beating. He's terrible. He's absolutely terrible. It's just as bad as his fashion sense. He's absolutely terrible. That's it, period. You know, so yeah, I'll blow him out there, no problem. I look at him and there's nothing special. Smith made him look the best he possibly could, and he still didn't look good.
When you started your career, you always cared what people thought about you. Like, in your situation now, you can't. Can you even afford to do that? Or is it just where you got older now, you care less?
No, I think as I've got older, I've just, you know, began to accept the fact that some people are going to love you, some people are going to hate you, you know, it's always going to be mixed. You know, you're a nobody till you got haters, so, you know, I'm obviously doing something right.
Before, no one was booing you. You were actually the hero going into a Chris Eubank fight. Now, you'd be the villain. Going into that fight.
No.
What do you reckon?
No, I still think I'll be the hero.
I
think I'll be doing the country a favour. You know, I always get shown love everywhere I go, you know, because
it's quite fun, isn't it? Like, when you come to a show, you get absolutely mobbed with love, and then you turn on social media, Twitter, and it's like, you know.
No, I know, but no one would ever say anything to my face. You know, people on social media are people on social media for a reason. But, you know, trolls are trolls. Could it be because I'm one of the hottest prospects in the UK? Could it be because I'm Nigel Benn's son? Could it be that I'm signed to one of the biggest promotional companies in the world? Could it be that the rise was too great? The rise was too good to be true? There will always be people saying something, you know, and I've begun to realise that. So I'm just going to keep going in there, bowling them over, getting paid, and climbing my way up the world rankings. And that's all that matters. You know, all that matters for me is my family, my son, you know, and, you know, the genuine fans who paid to come and watch me fight, who, you know, have supported me throughout this whole process. That's all that matters. And it's part of the game, it's part of the media circus, but apart from that, he's still an idiot. And I'm still going to come in there and do what I got to do anyway. You know, he don't dictate what I do, who I am, how I think. I think he's an idiot and he's going to get ironed out April 26. That's all there really is to it, because he thinks he's smart, but he ain't smart, he's an idiot.
Dedicated, committed, so I see the way you train, and I know what Tony Sims is like, you don't let people cut corners.
Yeah.
And I think you've got desire. Got the desire for the sport, as in you want to do it, you want to become something, you want to win titles, you enjoy the sport.
I would go along those lines. Yeah. I would say resilient, disciplined and motivated.
Can you name anything that Chris Eubank Jr does well in the ring? Is there anything that stand out, like, you don't want to give him credit and big him up, but is there anything we say actually?
Genuinely.
Because you don't really rate him, do you, as a fighter?
Genuinely.
Yeah, genuinely, do you think, right, okay, he does
his biggest attribute was his engine, was his hunger, and his ferociousness.
Yeah. So you must have some, like, respect for that.
But I wouldn't say that's as of the past 4 years.
No. Right, so you think that's gone from it?
I feel like the whys are very different now. The arrogance, you can't learn. You can't grow.
Do you think it's purely motivated now by money?
No, for a minute, why would you fight? Well, why would you fight a welterweight? You may say to me, well, why are you fighting a middleweight? Because I'm 28. I can achieve a world title. I'll knock Eubank out and fight for a world title straight back after at 147.
Take this fight,
Yeah, of course. Go straight back down.
Regardless of what happens, and you obviously.
Well, yeah, but if you're looking at it from your perspective, you go regardless of what happens, he can still win the world title.
Yeah, can still go back and. Yeah,
Eubanks is in line for the world title against Shiraz, against Canelo, against Janibek, against chooses to fight a welterweight in Ben. It doesn't make sense apart from financial sense.
Apart from the money at the end of his career as well.
Yeah.
Who's always going to take this one. Who's more of a bad guy, yourself or Chris Eubank Jr.?
I'm not a bad guy.
No.
Do you know what's funny?
That's what I get. I get that you're not a bad guy.
I'm not a bad guy. I'm definitely not a bad guy. I'm not how, I don't know what happens, but I'm definitely misunderstood. Yeah. I am definitely misunderstood. Because I'm not a bad guy at all.
Fair enough.
He's failed 2 drug tests for clomiphene. It's a masking agent for potentially taking other drugs. But let's not go into the substance. Let's not be too scientific. The facts are, he's failed drugs test for clomiphene, which is a banned substance in boxing. Now, whether or not he knows how it got there, there's a thing called strict liability. So you're responsible for what's inside your body. Whether or not you can convince anybody or you can convince yourself that you've not taken it, you are guilty by the fact that it's in your system. And I think that's what CONOR Benn's struggling to deal with here. And I think that's why he's turning a lot of the fans, he's turned so many fans against him because of his attitude towards it. He's just profoundly claiming his innocence. I get that. But there comes a point where you've got to say, listen, I failed 2 drugs tests, don't know what happened, I'm sorry. Them 2 words, I'm sorry, would go a long way.
Who is at the bigger disadvantage? CONOR Benn, coming up 2 divisions. And Chris Eubank just weighs in what he always weighs in. That whole, they're stripping him down to 160. It's his weight. I don't understand. Stop listening to Simon Jordan.
If CONOR Benn loses the fight, he can come again. He's coming up from welterweight, he's coming up from 147 pounds, fighting Chris Eubank Jr, who's naturally the bigger man, up at 160, who's competed at super middleweight 168. CONOR Benn himself, at 28 years old, losing after stepping up 2 weight divisions, he can definitely come again, as long as he doesn't get badly ironed out and hurt.
The best thing is His Excellency, who always does what he does, which is step in and get rid of the disputes, get rid of the egos, and do his deals.
We're going to have a bigger bet. We're going to have £1 million.
You want to do £1 million on CONOR Benn?
In escrow.
Listen,
tomorrow morning.
He has
I'm telling you now, £1 million in escrow tomorrow morning.
On what?
On what? On the fight.
You're going to bet £1 million on
in escrow tomorrow morning.
Eddie Hearn's so confident in CONOR Benn, he's willing to bet £1 million on him. Maybe he knows something we don't, like when the next cycle starts. CONOR Benn versus Chris Eubank Jr. is shaping up to be a fight for the ages. We all remember the legendary rivalry between their fathers. Now, the family names are clashing once again. Chris Eubank Jr. wants to make an example out of CONOR Benn for being a drugs cheat. CONOR Benn, on the other hand, is fighting to honor his father's legacy and to win back the respect of the fans. If you're hyped for this epic showdown, hit like on the video. Let me know in the comments, who do you think takes the win?